Well, there you go, fellas. Just like that, we're back at it talking about another crazy week. Tim, you hit it right on the head. There's a lot of nonsense going on in the NFL with these game results, but I wouldn't change it for the world. Everything has been right on point, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I love the unpredictability of the NFL. That's what makes it so fun. Just when you
Yeah.
feel like you've kind of started to figure it out about halfway through the season, and you're like, nope, still don't have it figured out. And so a lot of parity in the league. It makes it great.
Yeah. Whole lot of stuff to go. So let's jump right in with some week 8 recap real quick here. Let's talk about the first game Thursday night. Minnesota Vikings visited the Los Angeles Chargers. I got it right, Caleb. I should have had it right by now. Justin Herbert threw 3 touchdown passes in the win. They win 37-10. Josh, this was a game where we had hoped that Carson Wentz would show shades of the Carson Wentz that was drafted highly regarded, but unfortunately he left with a major injury.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing through that injury as well. It's a shoulder surgery that he's going to have. That'll end his season. They did not announce that McCarthy was going to be starting with that news, so we don't know if he's back yet this week. So it could be Max Brosmer, the backup, the local guy from the University of Minnesota. But, yeah, he's down for the year, and so they really have to rely on J.J. McCarthy to be the sole guy. You know, of course, that they wish he would be, but what we've seen so far is not very hopeful. Granted, 2 games, but he's going to have to step up when he gets his time, when he gets the calling, and when he's fully recovered.
Tim, we watched J.J. McCarthy, who's been hurt, jump over a tackle on the sideline, and apparently like there was nothing wrong. Your takeaway from Minnesota and Charger game?
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said a minute or two ago, just when we thought we had it figured out, I thought the Chargers, it was going to be hard to sustain some of these injuries that they had on their line. And, you know, some of their guys are starting to come back, and they just put together a very complete game. They looked great in Minnesota, the opposite direction. There's a lot of talent on that Minnesota team. And unfortunately, the one area, they might honestly be a top 5 talent on paper, talented team in the NFC, or maybe even in the NFL. But except at the quarterback position. And that's the one position, we've known this forever, guys. You've got to get that position right. And they haven't gotten it right. And unfortunately, it's costing their team.
Yeah. You know, Caleb, I found out also that Justin Herbert broke Peyton Manning's NFL record for most completions through 6 seasons. I think we were on this kid's bandwagon early, but I think we're getting the best out of him with his coach Harbaugh there. What's your takeaway from this weekend?
Yeah, one thing about this game that was really exciting was Kamani Vidal, the running back for the Chargers. I don't know why he slipped through the cracks in drafts and in the real life draft when he got drafted. He was the offensive player of the year in his conference in college. He had like 1,700 scrimmage yards that year in college. He runs a 4.4, workhorse back. The league just doesn't like running backs. I think they want a certain prototype running back. But in this game, he went 23 carries for 117 and a touchdown. I mean, just monster volume, monster production for the running back against a stout defense. But yeah, I mean, the Vikings, like Tim was saying, they need to figure out those pieces in quarterback. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is. We've talked about it, nausea, but he's not good. But their defense is healthy. Blake Cashman's back. He had 11 tackles his first game back. Yep. So there is some trending things that could be good. Jordan Addison, since he's come back from his suspension, has been a monster. A wide receiver 1 for fantasy. So I'm iffy still. Obviously, the quarterback's the most important position for an NFL team. But we've seen teams in the past win without a good quarterback, so I don't know. They're not a Super Bowl team, but
no.
I don't know. Chargers look great.
They've had their chances, Josh, with quarterback, but it seems like they just keep sending their good quarterback somewhere else.
Yeah. And Caleb mentioned Kamani Vidal, obviously the second-year player who's stepping up. Rondé Gadsden, once again, had another massive game. I think he got AFC Rookie Player of the Week for the second time in a row. Just great games consecutively, and of course, looking like their future at the tight end position. But also, Justin Aboigbe, the defensive lineman that they got last year, started and played only 26 defensive snaps all of last year, had 2 tackles. Now he's a full-time starter. If you watched the game, you saw him making plays. You saw the sacks that he had in this game. He has 4 sacks this year. So they have young guys stepping up offensively and defensively, despite all of the injuries that they've had throughout this first few games this year.
Yeah, without a doubt. All right, let's talk about some games. We'll get moving here quickly, guys. Stop me whenever you want to interject. Miami Dolphins, they go to Atlanta, take care of business 34-10. Surprising, without Darren Waller, they can manage to win a game. Tua completed 20 of 26 for a meager 205 yards. Caleb, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to mention one of the good things about them is they finally have their run game established. And it's not Achan because he's not a grinder back, as we talked about before. Good football player, not a good grinder back. But Ollie Gordon, the rookie, he didn't have a fantastic day, but he had 10 carries for 46 yards and 20 yards receiving. Kind of controlled the pace of the game at the end of the game, so they kind of phased out the team, so there was no chance for a comeback there. But yeah, I think that was the biggest thing, was consistency and just having longer drives than the kind of fast pace, burn out of the script in the first quarter type of play that we've seen out of Mike McDaniel's offense.
Yeah. And Mike McDaniel watch has officially been on, but I expect that anytime, even though he's winning. I mean, I think we're clear they're going to be moving on from this guy at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Can we mention the Falcons might be the weirdest team to project? Because there's games where they get blown out. Well, there's a game where they got blown out 30 points to 0 from the Carolina Panthers. They came into this game, everyone largely projected them to win, a lot because of Bijan Robinson and how poor the Miami Dolphins defense has been against running backs rather. But on average, if you looked at the entire season, the Falcons had less points per game on offense than the Dolphins. There's a lot of red flags for this team, but I know they're young. Michael Penix hasn't really started beyond the few games last season. Their defensive ends especially, and secondary are all loaded with young players. So yeah, I see the inconsistencies there. But as far as projecting them, a team that can A, lose by 30 and score 0, or B, beat the Buffalo Bills and then lose to the Dolphins. I don't know what to do with them going forward as far as, how to project them. Of course, Kirk Cousins started, but you don't project them to just completely fall off with the quarterback change there.
Yeah, I agree. I've said all along they're not good. I didn't think they had a very good chance to win with their starting quarterback. Then Cousins literally does nothing in the game. I don't understand that. He's not making a case to be starting anywhere with that type of performance. You expect a veteran to come in and make a little noise there. Speaking of veterans, this is the second week of the Joe Flacco experience in Cincinnati. And somehow they let the Jets walk in and get their first win, Tim. The Jets are on the board with a win. Yay, Aaron Glenn.
Unbelievable.
Now we can breathe easy as they go on and lose all the rest of their games. I'm kidding.
A little Jet magic. They had a sad start to the day. Their franchise center, Nick Mangold, passed away earlier in the day. Apparently grew up not far from Cincinnati where the game took place. They're getting blown out early on. They come back big. Breece Hall, 133 yards, 2 touchdowns, phenomenal. There's rumors Breece Hall might be traded before this trade deadline, so we'll have to see if that's his last game as a Jet. They would be smart to hold on to him because he's a great player. You don't want to be getting rid of players like that. But Jets, say what you want, but more to me, this is more of the Jets are going nowhere this year. I think we're all in agreement on that. Yeah. This is more like, what the heck, Cincinnati? What are you doing? Cincinnati, they were just starting to go, okay, we all know they had talent on offense. Maybe they can hang around long enough and see what happens. But this was just absolutely awful. Terrible loss for them.
Yeah, go ahead,
Caleb.
I was going to say, you mentioned the Bengals looking terrible. I think Trey Hendrickson coming out of the game was the biggest part of it. They had no pressure on Justin Fields, and he was able to throw to Mason Taylor in that last drive. We saw him score that touchdown. Breece Hall had a crazy day, like you were saying. And one thing I think I would add is the owner of the Jets ripped into Justin Fields the week prior, and then Justin said, I think he was crying, that it really hurt his feelings and that he had to pray about it, and he just sat in the closet and cried.
Wow.
Which I feel bad for him because, it's not fair to him. The team's terrible, but he really stuck out there and he didn't play terrible. He had 250 yards and a touchdown and managed the ball well, and they beat a team that's on the rise right now with Joe Flacco. So props to Justin Fields. They're going into the bye week and coming out of the bye week playing Cleveland, so it could be another win for them. I'm really happy for Aaron Glenn. I'll add that. I think he's a great coach. I think they need to give him some time. That's it. You're up, Josh.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Josh.
Can we give Justin Fields a round of applause?
Yeah.
He won his first game where the other team scored over 20 points.
Well,
Yeah.
and he
He matched
survived
him.
his
He did a good
changing the
job.
course
All
of history.
good.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. Well, let's talk about Cleveland Browns. Myles Garrett delivered a 5-sack performance, guys,
Ooh.
despite their loss.
Great.
Dominant defense, but they were not able to beat New England, who rolled 32-13 over Cleveland. Also,
First
guys,
half was pretty good, pretty close until
the first half was entertaining, but these brownies, these good old brownies, boy, they don't disappoint. They're the same team every year, aren't they? What's your point?
Yeah, I think that we talked about MVP a few weeks ago, Herbert and Mayfield, maybe Nixon, all those guys. I think Drake May is making a big case for that.
Yeah.
Because he has roughly the same personnel around him starting, like Ramondre's same guy, Hunter Henry.
Yep.
Other than Diggs, everyone's kind of the same guy. And he's really been the most valuable dude on that team. I mean, he has 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, and he has 250 rushing yards. So he's on pace for a monster year. He's taking care of the football. They're winning games. I mean, he's your fantasy number 2 player right now, second in the league for points scored. He's making a case. I think he's only 23 years old. So I think that the sky's the limit here, and it's been fun to watch him with Vrabel in this new system and actually be able to produce.
You're starting to hear like little hints during all the broadcasts that he has this record, that Tom Brady didn't do that he did this. And it's just little if you listen. And the irony about Tom Brady, and he's great. We're never going to take anything away from what he did. Tom did it by being consistent, by having just consistent stats and winning in clutch moments and sticking around for an awfully long time. So the reality is when you're hearing a kid in his second or third season now, second season,
second, yeah.
and they're mentioning him along with accolades that the New England Patriot GOAT had. I mean, that's pretty astonishing to hear that, considering you would just think that anything remarkable from the quarterback position in New England would always belong to Tom Brady, and yet there's nice things to say about this young kid. So that's fantastic.
Yeah. They're still leading the division as well.
Yeah,
they are. Let's move to Philadelphia. Philadelphia starting to put up points in the last couple weeks. Philadelphia improving 6-2 over the 2-6 New York Giants. Unfortunately, very early in the game, if you haven't seen it, you don't need to see it. Scatabo out with a freakish injury, very similar to Dak Prescott dislocating his foot as far as lifting his foot off the ground at being disconnected, which is always just freakish to watch. Unfortunately,
so have we seen? I was going to say on the injury, have we seen a running back have that type of injury? Because we've seen Dak and Lance and Fred Warner recently. Have we seen a running back come back from a dislocation and a break like that?
You know, I've said this to you guys. I didn't think Hutch was coming back from breaking his, bones basically in half. That's pretty freakish to me as well. But he came back without a beat. And to be honest, Dak looks fine. So I don't know. Well, because it's mostly bone, I feel like these guys are able. I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
My only question. Sorry. Would be
more. Go ahead.
We're on. You go.
You got it. Okay. It's more oriented to, of course, his position being a running position. We saw Dak come back and essentially never run. Right. Trey Lance, a guy that was drafted based off of his mobility. You never see him really have designed runs or anything like that. And Fred Warner we'll see what happens. But what are we going to see from a guy where we're depending on him to run effectively, have to run with an injury like this?
Yeah.
What I was going to say was the only player we've seen with a similar injury to that is Isaiah Pacheco. It wasn't the gruesome backwards ankle, but it's the same lower ankle shin bone area. And his explosiveness looks like it took a little bit of a hit since then. So I am worried for Cam Scatterbo because that's his game, is the aggressive, hit the hole early, head down running, and that's what Pacheco used to do.
I'd be more worried about Chubb bending his leg backwards twice. Completely
he's a different animal, though. He's a whole different human
But
being.
here's the point, Caleb.
ligaments.
I think when you break your ankle, and I'm sure there's some ligament tendon damage, for sure, but the knees are a little more sensitive, I think, in terms of lateral, changing direction, that type of thing. Yes, you plant your foot. The only real injury I ever had was tearing a tendon in my foot. And I honestly, after it healed and got along with the psychological part, didn't feel like it was a big deal. I couldn't imagine hurting my knee, though, because everything kind of lives and dies. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if the young man's able to come back.
Caleb did mention Pacheco. Someone else comes to mind is Rashad Penny, as we saw him break his lower leg, and he essentially never came back.
Right.
That's right.
retiring the next year. So
hard to tell. Well, the Eagles are definitely starting to roll. 38 points on offense. One thing, Tim, that I found interesting about this game, when I, as I normally do, I make my rounds via radio, podcasts, and things on all the major networks just to hear what I already saw and what Josh and Caleb and I usually talk about live in the room. It seemed like there was an awful lot of discussion about this tush push. This one because we've known for weeks, and a lot of people have been mentioning that the play seems like the refs can't call it, and the guards and tackles are jumping off sides now. But this week we had a new twist to it. This is the on top of the pile, drop the ball, or have it stripped from Hurts. And meanwhile, no one seemed to hear a whistle, but they said they blew the play dead. So now I'm starting to hear people that were, proponents becoming opponents of this tush push. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, my team, the Green Bay Packers, were the one that came to the league last year trying to ban the tush push because for that very reason. There's a lot of, just some shady things that can happen when that's happening. And that clearly should have been, I think any football fan would agree that was a fumble, right? There was no whistle blown. He ripped the ball from his hands in mid-play. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. I think that the league itself needs to sit down and really analyze, is that really for the best of the league to continue allowing that to happen?
Yeah, 2 points.
Especially,
go ahead, Josh.
I was going to say where the ball was, or in the middle of the football field.
Right.
We've seen them call, like, it's gone either way, where they've called it very close at the goal line. And it's been, obviously they're not getting any more momentum pushed forward, and they call it, and it's been questions there. But this is in the middle of the field. Thibodeau has his hand on the football, and then he rips it out and recovers it within a very short time. Like it was very clearly, like Tim said, anyone would agree. If we didn't know it was a penalty, we would all say, or not a penalty. Right. If we didn't know that they called it, then we would definitely say that it was a fumble.
Well, you can watch, when you're watching it, Thibodeau has the ball and is about to get up, and then the whistle blows, and the commentator's like, "Oh, that's a fumble, 100%." Like, it's like the second week in a row the commentators are the opposite of what's happening in the game. And I don't want to get too into it, but it's annoying.
There's a rule on the book, and I don't care if we were doing it. I think it's a dumb play, and here's why. There's already a rule in the book that you cannot pull a player forward to advance him.
Right.
Pushing, pulling, what's the difference? I don't think you should be able to push a player forward. If the player can't do it on his own, it's one thing if he runs into a line and the line is pushing people, that's called blocking. We're all for that. But when a person comes behind someone and begins to forward their motion, I think it's just like a pull. It's an assist. You can't jump on a man to block a field goal either. Let's get away from the buddy system and let's just call it. I think it lost by 2 votes, so let's be hopeful that it loses this year. All right, let's keep moving down the line. Carolina Panthers rolled past the Buffalo Bills rolled past the Carolina Panthers. Josh Allen continues to just score however he wants to. The Buffalo Bills' high-powered offense scored 40 points. Carolina's 9. That's a win for Buffalo, who are now 5-2. Surprisingly, we said this last week, but surprisingly, we're going to have to watch who's going to be winning this division week for week as the New England Patriots continue to currently be number 1. As you guys said, without Lamar Jackson, Baltimore was able to win against Chicago. This was a funny game because for a while it looked like, Tim, the game was going to be ho-hum, back and forth perhaps. Caleb Williams was in the game, and somewhere near the end of the game, 30-16, the Ravens pull out and win.
Yeah, I mean, first win in 42 games. 42 days, not 42 games. I mean, disturbing. 42 days for the Ravens. It's been a while since the Ravens have won a game. And I don't think any of us saw this coming, to be honest with you.
No.
The Bears offense just so inconsistent and so random. Like literally, I wrote that down in my notes. I was going through all the stats, and I just literally landed on Bears offense random because they are. You can't figure that. There's times they look explosive, and you're like, all right, Caleb Williams is figuring this out. They've got these pieces. And then a game like this one where you're like, what happened? What is that? And so. If you're a Bears fan, very disappointing. If you're a Baltimore fan, before we got on the air, my hot take was, I said to the guys, I don't think Baltimore's done. I know it's crazy. They were 1-5. And I think I'm the one that said they were done. I think most people said they were done. Right. 3-5. Lamar's coming back. Pittsburgh's stumbling a little bit. I don't know. I know 3-5 is still nothing to be proud of. It's still a big hole you got to dig out of. But if they can get a little thing going here, Lamar back, that talent they've got a lot of talent on that team.
Josh, Caleb, your takeaways? Who wants to take it?
I'll go ahead. I want to say, the most confusing signing of the offseason is probably the Cooper Rush signing, because we watched him play for this football team just a few weeks ago, and it was nothing was going on. Like, yeah, you say bad, but yeah, nothing was happening for this offense, and he's a very clearly not a fit for what they have going on. You saw when they transitioned to Lamar Jackson, they brought in RG3, Tyler Huntley, who now is starting, Josh Johnson, all these guys that kind of fit that same style of the offense. And then you suddenly throw Cooper Rush in there, and it's just like, what are we doing? So despite how Tyler Huntley, the Pro Bowler, the man himself, he's not a very talented guy as far as starting in the league. We all agree with that. But it fits their offense and their scheme so much better than what Cooper Rush was doing. And we saw that. They didn't really do much. Derrick Henry had a solid game, but they just took care of business against a team, like Tim said, just a confusing offense that just every drive, they don't look like they know what they're doing some games.
Yeah, and I'll piggyback off what Josh said. Tyler Huntley is their scheme. He's the same as Lamar, prototype, same type of player, mobile quarterback. Keeps the defense honest. Check downs to their tight ends. Zay Flowers, 7 of 9 for 63 yards. And I think he had a touchdown this game. He did not. But the middle of the field being like that and keeping them honest with the mobile quarterback and the run game, Derrick Henry having a day, it's just harder to defend against. It's less predictable. Cooper Rush, like you're saying, one-dimensional. They're going to hand it to Derrick Henry, or they're going to try and hit the sidelines with the ball down the field. So that was the answer we needed. Lamar, we saw the first few weeks, even though they lost those first few games, they looked great. They were dropping 35 points, I think, was their average for a minute. And that shootout against the Bills, week 2 or week 1, I can't remember. But, yeah, that's the problem, is they don't need Cooper Rush.
No, they definitely don't need Cooper Rush. Okay, a couple games, and then we can land anywhere you stop me. But let's talk about San Francisco visiting Houston. Houston comes away with the win 26-15. Tampa Bay Buccaneers visit their rivals. The only thing to come out of this game, other than Baker beating them 23-3, is that they have decided to switch quarterbacks. Rattler now sitting, and they're going with your boy, Caleb. They're finally going to bring him in. They announced that he will be the starter this week, of course, Shuck. The game that I think most of America didn't spend as much time thinking about as we did, the Dallas Cowboys visiting the Denver Broncos. Denver, of course, beating the Cowboys every time they've played them since 1993. So we were optimistic, I think, but the Dallas offense sputtered, scoring 24 points, and Dak's worst statistical game of the year so far, whereas Bo Nix and the boys score 44 to win over the Dallas Cowboys. And then finally, let's land here for a minute, guys. Tennessee, we didn't expect them to beat the Indianapolis Colts, but I've said for weeks, guys, we owe Daniel Jones an apology. 38-14, week after week now, Tim. You said you're not going to be happy till he beats good teams. The Titans are not a good team. But now we're looking at you're not a good team at all. But we're finally looking at a coach who is utilizing what I think is the best running back in the game, who has got himself a quarterback who is, quite frankly, at 7-1, best team in football, making all the right calls on offense. Defense looks great. Is it time to start giving Daniel Jones credit?
Yes. Oh, sorry. My short
You're next,
answer
Caleb.
is
You're
yes.
next, Caleb.
Because we were talking about another team previously about having a quarterback that can just protect the ball, right? In Minnesota, we were saying you need to have a quarterback that can protect the ball, make the safe plays, and just run the offense effectively. And that's what they have. That's what they have in Daniel Jones. And Jonathan Taylor on pace for 1,800 rushing yards. He had 2 rushing touchdowns. He had 1 receiving, another 153 yards. Just phenomenal. Yeah, I'm slowly becoming a believer. Go ahead, Caleb. Sorry, buddy.
No, you're good. I think that this is more of Shane Steichen's system than it is Daniel Jones. I think Daniel Jones is playing great. He's protecting the ball, like you were saying. He's being productive on his feet. He's making the right reads. His receivers look like the best form that they have been in the last few years. Shout out to Dave with the clown nose a few weeks ago. But Michael Pittman's great this year. I think Shane Steichen deserves the praise because he looks a lot like Jalen Hurts physically and statistically in these games that they did their Super Bowl year with Shane Steichen. Let's be fair to him. He had Anthony Richardson, who's very raw and was injury prone, and then he had a bunch of vets come in and did not do it for him. I know Joe Flacco was there for a minute too, but Daniel Jones fits the system, fits the mold as this kind of run-first team that it should be with Jonathan Taylor. So I think this is more of the perfect marriage here for them than it is either one of them by themselves.
Yeah. You say run first, but Josh, they've been a very balanced offense. In fact, Jonathan Taylor got robbed from making history with which is rushing touchdown because he pitched it slightly forward, so it ended up being a pass. But they are very balanced, Josh. And what are your thoughts from this game? Or from the Colts overall?
I think well, mostly from the Colts. I mean, the Titans, we know what they're going through right now. We're seeing another rookie receiver step up, Jameer DK, who they drafted ahead of Aya Manor in this year's draft. But we're seeing both of them thrive. Gunnar Helm, a rookie tight end, also getting his first touchdown this week as well. So we're seeing them develop, and we're seeing at least production from these younger players. But to mention the Colts, Caleb laid out how the quarterback, Daniel Jones, plays similarly to Jalen Hurts, and he's doing what we know he can do, but at this high of a level, of course, we're not projecting that. We knew he could manage the game. We knew he could have low turnovers. We knew he could run. We knew he could score in the red zone and be good there. But obviously, he's doing significantly better than anyone would have projected or imagined. But to mention Jonathan Taylor, Tim mentioned that he's on average or on pace for 1,800 rushing yards. If you do total yards, he's on pace for 357 touches, 2,244 yards, and 29 total touchdowns. If the math's incorrect, you can blame PFF because I did not check it myself. But he's having obviously a historic season. As far as those three statistics, carries, rushing yards, rushing touchdowns, he led the league a few years ago in all of those. The only other player to do it twice is Jim Brown, obviously playing in an era of football where he was just by far and away the best player. I'm not saying Jonathan Taylor is by far and away the best player in football, but I am saying he's by far and away the best runner of the football this year. And I think that's unquestioned with how consistent has been week to week. Obviously, to the credit of Steichen and the Colts, but he's a part of that, of course.
It's nice to see Caleb, even though we're all big fans of drafting a quarterback and giving him a few years to figure it out, not throwing him to the wolves and building the team around him. Of course, the NFL wants you to get a quarterback to hit early, not have to pay him right away and build the team that way. But, it's nice to see a free agent. We were talking about this in the room Sunday, Josh, about how it's nice to see quarterbacks that have been repurposed actually start to land, i.e. Sam Darnold, and up until this year, Geno Smith and a couple guys who had been around the league. It's just nice to see that. So it's encouraging. My only question, this is going to be weird because y'all aren't going to expect me to say this, but Jim Irsay was crazy, right? I mean, that dude was wild. No doubt about it. That dude had some quirks.
He was an addict, and that played into his business model of the team, unfortunately. And that's why Peyton Manning had a problem with him, too. I think it was just some things he couldn't.
Well, you just made that real serious. I was going to make this real light.
Oh, but you asked. Sorry, I answered too
fast.
No,
it's a good answer. His daughter might be absolutely insane. I watched like a bunch of footage of her sitting with a headset on, listening to the plays being called, writing notes, and commenting back like, "Oh, it's a good one. That's a good one." Like, bro, you can say what you want about Jerry. My dude's not out there with a headset talking to anybody.
You mean insane in a good way, right?
I don't know what to think of this, bro.
I don't know.
I mean,
it's working.
You gotta look at her, bro. She looks a little crazy. I don't. And listen, I hate to be character indicting here because I don't know nothing about this lady, but
I do. I mean, I recall when she had to step up because of the unfortunate passing of Jim, which he looked like he was deteriorating pretty fast, and he's not that old, but. Anyways, she steps up and she basically mentioned how she wants to ensure the fans and everyone that, the coaches and everyone in place that, that she ultimately didn't appoint are the best fit. So she was going to be a large part of everything to ensure that this year, their first year as the owners, that they would lock down and make sure that these are the guys they need for the future.
All I'm saying, she's got that crazed look in her eyes, Tim, like that Lizzie Borden look. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just got to look at her.
I know. I got you.
I'm not sure how to take it. But anyway, let's talk about football. I'm sorry. I told you it was going to be a bunny trail. Hey, this is a sad stat, guys, but Steelers kicker Chris Boswell nailed 3 field goals of at least 50 yards, making it the third time in his career that you could put it this way, that he's had to do that because Pittsburgh did not score
third time this year.
Yeah, third time in his career. That means Pittsburgh's
like
not scoring a lot of points. When your highlight is your kicker That's pretty rough. But the Green Bay Packers were able to beat Pittsburgh. Great for Aaron Rodgers to be around a bunch of people that he spent a lot of time with, an organization that he's beloved. Aaron's gone on record saying recently he started out as a Packer. He's going to finish this thing as a Packer. So good to see all the love out there. Honestly, guys, it was a good football game up until the end. They started to pull away at the end. Anybody want to take this one?
Sure, I'll talk a minute. Sorry, Tim. I'll give you the spotlight for it.
No, that's all you. Go for it. You got it.
Yeah, two players. The first one, obviously, I talked about last week, Tucker Kraft. Everyone knows him now, if you didn't know him before. He does that, as he says. 7-9, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. Just absolute monster. He's leading the league in yak for tight ends. I think it's the highest since George Kittle in his breakout season. So I'm not saying he's George Kittle, but I think it's pretty close. I love Tucker Kraft.
We hear you.
Yeah. On the other side, Roman Wilson, the wide receiver from Michigan, on the Steelers, finally broke out 4 or 5 for 74 and a touchdown. I know the Steelers just signed MVS tomorrow or today.
Yeah.
Like, they're talking about doing it, which is good for Aaron Rodgers to have someone finally to throw down the sideline, that deep threat. But Roman Wilson looks like an actual threat if they can remain consistent with him in this offense. 74 yards and a touchdown in your breakout game is pretty encouraging for Steelers fans.
Josh?
Yeah, the irony with the Tucker Kraft thing is the year that Tucker Kraft was drafted a few years ago, they actually drafted another tight end, Luke Musgrave, the round before, and the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, Matt LaFleur, compared Luke Musgrave to potentially a George Kittle. And the irony is now we're saying, no, not Luke Musgrave, it's Tucker Kraft. And Kraft has just been phenomenal. I mean, 128 yards after catch. Most since 2018 for a tight end, as Caleb said. Return of Christian Watson. The Packers don't have the best weapons, but they've got a lot of weapons. They've kind of formulated their team, or structured their team, I should say, by just getting a lot of really good players, not a ton of like great position players, but really good players. And you throw Kraft in there, and Jordan Love had quite possibly his best regular season game of his career. 360 yards, 20 straight completions. If he can do that, and the Packers defense can Micah Parsons, my goodness gracious, he looked like a beast out there. Packers will be dangerous if they can play that way.
Yeah. Why does it always work out that way, that these guys tie the record all time in a stat, and then they mention it, they're like, oh, he's tied, and then it's just incomplete every single time. It's happened every time in prime time too. But like y'all mentioned, Tucker Kraft. This is a very broad stat, but it's established by all these companies and people that look at the game more than we do. But Tucker Kraft essentially in his fantasy points has doubled his expected fantasy total, meaning that he should have half as many points, but because he leads the league in yards after catch, he leads the league in plays over 40 yards at the tight end position. Still has a perfect passer rating when targeted, and right now he's third in receiving yards at the position despite having a week off, and then as well as kind of having a lesser role in 2 games because of that injury he had early in the season. To be unquestionably a top 3 tight end in every metric with all those things considered, he should be considered among the top 5 at the position with seeing how players like Mark Andrews and Travis Kelce are kind of getting pushed down in their roles as they've gotten older. He's clearly the emerging talent in the league this year to focus on. Last year was Bowers. The year before was Laporta. I know Kraft's older than both of those guys, but he's very clearly joining those talents in the top tier of tight ends.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I love good tight end play. I think that Gadsden kid's doing pretty good too this year.
Yeah.
He keeps lighting
Fair
them
enough,
up
but
week in and week out.
Three good games. Well, let's hope that it continues for their sake.
Yeah.
And Tucker Kraft, he's on the field the whole game when it matters. He's making blocks. He's really an extra lineman on most of these runs. He's probably the most important player on the Packers right now, in my opinion, on the offense at least. He's not replaceable. Like you were saying, Musgrave hasn't really hit. It reminds me of that draft. Reminds me of Hayden Hurst and Mark Andrews getting drafted. Were they the same year? Yeah,
very good. Yeah,
Hayden Hurst was the first round pick. Yeah, very similar. So, and Mark Andrews stuck around, and Hayden Hurst has been tossed around. Now he's out of the league. So, Yeah.
Well, this is a great segue. As we said, Green Bay wins 35-25 on Sunday Night Football. Monday Night Football featured two tight ends, both age tight ends, but I believe Zach Ertz, Josh, finally got some rare air last night live while they were on national TV. What did he do last night?
Yep, he is still alive at this age. But he, with over 800 receptions in his career for the tight end position, he joins Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, Travis Kelce, Antonio Gates, Shannon Sharp, and then the last name penciled in there is Zach Ertz. So obviously, all Hall of Famers that recently joined Antonio Gates, and then the soon-to-be Jason Witten and Travis Kelce. Obviously, we're not insinuating that Zach Ertz is a Hall of Famer, but for you to be able to total that many receptions at that position, obviously, to be mentioned with those guys, he should at least be considered at some point in time with the likes of guys like Greg Olsen and other guys around those numbers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was a great game for Kansas City, who won 28-7. Unfortunately, we don't have your starting quarterback. We know the Washington's had their share of some injuries. Tough for them to be able to stay in a game with the perennial Super Bowl team like the Chiefs. But they, at least early on, were playing slow for a little while until Kelce got a little wild. He broke some blocks and went downfield, Caleb, and was able to score himself. And it was a good game until the end when the Chiefs kind of ran away with it.
Yeah, and I think this is we talked about last week how the Chiefs are back, and we all kind of had them down. They were about to be 0-3 at the beginning of the year, or 1-4, whatever it was supposed to be. They started out very poor, and it's just hats off to Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes being how they are. They came into the game. The first half, they looked pretty rough. Second half adjustments, they looked amazing. They kind of took the game like you were saying. But Rashee Rice getting off suspension has been the fire that this team needed. 2 weeks in a row, he's been their wide receiver one. This week, he caught all 9 of his targets for 93 yards and a touchdown. Just monster wide receiver play. The whole offense is opened up now. I mean, they look like a completely different team, even with their run game still being as stale as it is. I know Washington's beat up. Their defense is old. We already talked about them enough. But the Chiefs look really good. Yeah,
and we've said this before, but Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs are making it a three-way race, which we expected them to do. Right now, the Broncos are 6-2, Chargers, Chiefs 5-3. It's anybody's division. Very soon, we will start talking about the division. I mean, obviously, the Colts right now have made it kind of a one-horse race. They're 3 games ahead of the Jaguars, who are hit or miss. And as we mentioned earlier, the Patriots are currently 1 game ahead of the Bills. Who would have thunk it at 6-2, 5-2?
Yeah. Well, they might be 2 games because they beat them in the division. So if they tie, they're still over them.
That is true. That's true. And currently the Steelers hold a 1 game over the Bengals and 2 over Ravens. Like you said, Tim, anybody's game. All right, let's dive into one of my favorite parts, which is talking about the games that are coming, y'all. So week 9 is afoot. Thursday night football, the night before Halloween, Baltimore will visit Miami, with which Baltimore and Lamar Jackson, alleged to be starting this week, are 7.5-point favorites. Anyone taking Miami here? Anybody?
Nope.
No?
It's scary. Halloween. I think it's going to be...
We are not.
Yeah,
all right.
Let's say Lamar is just going to have his way there, and they're going to win. That's all I got to say.
All right, all the guys are with Baltimore. All right, here's another one. This one's. I don't think we're gonna disagree. All right, Chicago. Chicago is visiting Cincinnati, and Chicago is currently 1.5-point favorites. I'm going Chicago. Anybody with me?
I'm going to go Chicago because the Cincinnati Bengals have allowed the league worst yards per carry to running backs, 5.6, I believe it is. 5.3 to 5.6, can't remember exactly. The worst in the league against running backs, and they have Swift, who can break the field, as we've seen in the last few weeks. And they have a good rookie in Monangai who's starting to get a lot of touches, kind of wear out the defense a lot. And that defense is already tore up. They have 2 starting linebackers that are rookies that we talked about last week. Trey Hendrickson might not be in this game. Their DBs are banged up. Not good.
Tim, who you got?
Yeah, I'll go Chicago. I am, like I said before, they're very random. Their offense is very hard to figure out. I know Ben Johnson is an offensive guru, but just watching them confuses me. There's times where they look phenomenal, and there's times where I'm like, what? That's the same team? But for the Trey Hendrickson factor, I think I agree with Caleb. I'm going to go with Caleb's reasoning. I'll go with Chicago.
Josh, Chicago.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chicago as well. Tim mentioned and brought up last week how the Bears are leading the league in interceptions now. They have 11 turnovers. Kevin Byard, of course, a big part of that. They are going to miss Kyler Gordon in this game upcoming, however. But you talk about the Cincinnati Bengals and what their defense has allowed, even with Trey Hendrickson kind of in and out the last 2 weeks. They allowed 31 points to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday night. They allowed 39 points to the New York Jets, of all people. So we're a team that is going to play against the Chicago Bears offense, it's questionable. It's random. All the things that Tim has mentioned about that offense. We just watched the New York Jets without their top 2 receivers, a rookie tight end, and half of a backfield. And uncertainty at the quarterback position just dropped nearly 40 points against this defense.
Yeah.
So I'm confident that the Bears can at least put up a high total against a team that is leading the league in turnovers and playing against Joe Flacco. So how long can the flame of Flacco hold on? I can't say that I'm going to continue to bet on him getting 30 points a game on offense either. So I'll pick the Bears.
Well said. All right, 2 teams that are going the opposite directions. Minnesota Vikings visiting Detroit Lions. Detroit at this time, Caleb, are favored by 8.5 points. Anybody taking Minnesota, and they are young quarterback at this point?
I'm going to say no, but I think it's one of these games. It's divisional. We see the Lions every year kind of poop their pants, you could say, on one of these games and lose a game that they should win. I think a few years ago they lost to the Jets. Last year they lost to a bad team. I can't quite remember who it was. I'm sorry. But it's divisional. Both these coaches are great coaches. The Lions defense is still banged up, and then the Vikings quarterback situation is still not good. But the rest of their team's back. Aaron Jones is healthy. Jordan Addison's back, like we said. And their defense is back with Blake Cashman being their best player on the defense, in my opinion. It's going to be a good game, I think. I don't think it's going to be... I say this, and it's going to be like a 40-point blowout because it's the Lions. But I think it will be close, but Lions, obviously.
Anybody taking Minnesota here?
No.
No.
because of their quarterback. Because of the quarterback.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. They are a very talented team, but the quarterback. That's why.
Yeah. And with that, like I said, they haven't mentioned whether J.J. McCarthy's even healthy enough to play. They said when he's healthy, he'll play even over Carson Wentz. But you have Max Brosmer or J.J. McCarthy, obviously 2 young guys, going up against which was Aiden Hutchinson leading the league in pressure rate before the bye week. You have that. They're top 5 in sacks. They're 7th right now in interceptions with 7 interceptions. They're top 3 offense. I just don't know. You're asking a lot. Even if they play down, I don't remember who they played a few weeks ago, but even if they had, I think it was the Bengals, if they played down, they still would have beaten that team just the way that it looked,
Yeah.
playing at their high end. If you set the median, they would beat them anyways.
I have one more point.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have not allowed a 100-yard rusher yet, the Lions. The best running back that has done against them yardage-wise is a rookie, Quinshon Judkins, on 21 carries, had 82 yards. Everyone else is under 60. They held Derrick Henry to 60 yards. Everybody else they've played, I believe Josh Jacobs had 60 as well, 66. Yeah, 66 on 20 touches. So the yards per carry for the running back is nothing. So Jordan Mason either needs to break the field, which that's not his game. He's a grinder back. So they're going to have a hard time controlling the ball in this game, I think.
All right, 2 games we're going to fly by because I don't see a chance for either of these. Let's talk about Carolina and Green Bay. Unanimously, Green Bay should wipe the floor with them. We can stop if you want, but there's no need to talk about this. This should be an easy win at home for Green Bay. All agreed.
Yeah.
All right. And I don't care who's quarterback. Also, Chargers are starting to roll, and they are visiting Tennessee. Another easy win for Justin Herbert and the guys. Anyone disagree? Okay. Yeah. I'm not trying to minimize these games, but what's that?
Even if you do, I said even if you think there's an inkling of chance for the Titans, I don't know if any one of us are going to confidently say, "Oh yeah."
Not when the
I just
line's
don't know
at 10
what Harbaugh is going to do, because some games Justin Herbert's throwing 50 times, even though they're winning, and then sometimes with their coordinator they'll run 50 times. So I don't know what they're going to do. So I don't know. I have a lot of Chargers this year. I'll say Quentin Johnston burnt you if you had him last week. I'm worried about him this week because it might be a blowout. They might not even use him. So
Josh,
there's that route that you could be worried about your receivers if you have Chargers receivers. But there's also the route that they could just blow them out. So I don't know for fantasy wise what to do there.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention y'all can answer this question after I mention just the roster real quick. Early in the season, they traded their starting corner, Jarvis Brownlee, to the New York Jets. They recently just traded their starting nickel over the last several seasons, Roger McCreary, to the LA Rams. Right now, they don't have someone slotted in. Right now, they have rookie safety Kevin Winston, who's just coming back from his ACL surgery. and recovery this offseason to potentially fill in as their nickel corner. So we're talking about a secondary against Justin Herbert that is just going to be very confused and not prepared fully against the likes of Ladd and Johnston and Trey Harris and Keenan Allen and now Aronde Gadsden. Like, it's going to be tough for them to cover the entire game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I will say that's so fun about this, though, I can almost guarantee. I agree with you guys on all these picks so far. We've had 5 or 6 games that we've run through that we've said, "Oh, it's so obvious. It's definitely them." I can almost guarantee you one of these we will be wrong on next week because of just the way we shouldn't be. We're picking the better team in all these, but that's the beauty of the parity of the NFL. One of these teams will slip up.
100%.
Let's just hope it's not Green Bay.
No, it's probably the next team. It's the Atlanta Falcons visiting the New England Patriots. Patriots are, in fact, 5.5-point favorites. We already said Atlanta's hard to predict. Is Penix coming back? Not that I think it matters. I think he's a terrible quarterback, but is he at least the starter? Will he be there this week? Do we know yet if he's going to come back?
To be honest, I haven't looked.
There's no clarity.
He's my Kyler Murray now. You know what I mean?
Okay. I think Kyler's way better, but
Kyler is way better, but I don't think Kyler should be a starting quarterback in the NFL. I think he should be pitching a baseball somewhere. But
okay, but this game, both these teams are weird because New England has been playing great football, controlling games, playing good defense, running out the clock. Even though we talked about the running back not being great efficiently and he fumbles a lot, they're a great football team, and the Falcons statistically are a darling. And they randomly have the worst game that you've ever seen in your life, like they did against the Panthers.
Well, one has a great coach and a great quarterback, and the other is the Atlanta Falcons.
That's true, but the Falcons are weird. I don't think they win this game, but they're a weird team. I mean, they beat the Bills. Like, they control games with Bijan when he's running the ball like he has been. It's one of those games. I'm not surprised if the Falcons win this game, is what I'm saying, but I'm going to go Patriots.
I'm going Pats.
Anybody else? One concern for me for the Patriots, I'm not sure if you guys caught this today. The Patriots dealt away, and this seems like kind of under the radar thing, but they dealt away 2 backup defensive players, which again, you might go, okay, well, they're backups. They were starters. But the problem is depth in this league. You know how quickly you never hope. You hope that no one ever gets injured. But one injury now, instead of just going to your backup who was a starter, now you're on your third string, and these are key positions: a safety and a DB that got traded away. And so that's just something to watch for New England as far as injuries go. But in New England is the better team. Yeah, and should win. Yeah.
Did they trade Keon White as well?
I'm sorry, I said DB. It's a defensive end, Keon White. Yep, Keon White and Kyle Duggar. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't know if there was a third one. So
sorry.
Both starters last year.
What did they get in return for those guys?
Yep.
So Kyle Duggar went to the Steelers and a 7th-round pick for just a 6th-round pick in return. Duggar's going to start immediately, I think, for the Steelers because we saw Deshaun Elliott, their starting safety, just go down with a knee injury. A pretty bad one. He might be out the whole year, unfortunately. So hope he can recover. But Duggar's a good player. He just didn't fit that culture, I guess, that scheme that Vrabel had in mind. He has a lot of his young guys starting. Craig Woodson, rookie, is starting over him right now.
Yeah.
Since week one.
Started right out the gate. So, and Duggar was a Pro Bowler, I believe, in the past. So he's not a bad player, and the Steelers got a free player.
Excellent. All right, San Francisco somehow on the road. I don't say somehow. They are favored to beat the New York Giants. Sorry, I misspoke.
Somehow they're on the road.
I know how they're on the road, and I know how they're favored. So, yeah, 2.5-point favorite, San Francisco. I think they rebound and get this win. I think they've had a couple of tough games, but I think they get this one.
I mean,
don't all jump in.
Who disagrees?
Oh, all right. Next game.
Boy, no.
We got a night. Go ahead. We got a nice one coming up. Go ahead. Talk about this one.
It's worth mentioning the 49ers. If you watched anything at all, or at least watched the highlights of the Texans-49ers game, you probably didn't see a lot of 49ers. And that's because they had 18 minutes of offense in this game. So obviously 42 going to the other team. That's a problem for any game. And so against the New York Giants, and you look at what they've done, their time possession is almost exactly the same on the season as the San Francisco 49ers. But prior to last week, the 49ers were among the top in the league. So with taking out Cam Scatterbo from the offense, You, of course, expect for the 49ers to have the ball more in this game.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I misspoke. 49ers are a way better football team. I know how they're going on the road and how they're
Somehow
going
on the road, yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
here's one, guys, that is somehow in Indianapolis Colts are on the road in Pittsburgh. 2 home games in a row for Pittsburgh. 3.5-point favorites. I think the Colts should be favored by more than that. I think this is the part of the season where the Steelers start to face some tougher teams, and Colts on the road. I'm taking the Colts on the road.
Yeah, I think I'm going to have to agree. I think it'll be a good game, but we watched the Steelers struggle early, and now they're more banged up, and they have a new safety, as we were talking about. But we saw them struggle against the Jets. They had over 200 rushing yards against them. I think it was week 1 or 2. And that's not good when you're playing against a mobile quarterback and the best running back in football. So not going to be good. They're going to need to play keep away, I think, because if they don't, they're not going to get the ball much because the Colts are just going to keep it away from them. So it's going to be a good game, good coached game, I think. But I think the Colts will win here.
Tim?
Yeah, I mean, my head says Indy. My heart says Pittsburgh for some reason. I just don't see Pittsburgh putting together back-to-back bad games, losing 3 in a row.
That's true.
But they probably will. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go Pittsburgh, and I don't even have a good analysis for you why. I really don't. I maybe just the gut feeling, and maybe Indy takes a step back. Again, I'm not arguing with you. Indy's a better team, but Pittsburgh's won some good games this year. They've got some talent. Got a pretty good quarterback who knows what he's doing. But I think it could be a little bit of a trap game maybe for Indy because they have all this confidence. They are still a bit of a young team outside of Jonathan Taylor, but I'm not calling Jonathan Taylor old, but I'm saying as far as like they've got some young starters, and so I'll go Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Josh. Oh boy, Josh, this is heart and head. We're heart
Both
and heart.
your teams.
You like both these teams.
I know. Yeah.
I think looking at what the Pittsburgh Steelers have done recently, I mean, 33 points allowed to the Cincinnati Bengals, 35 points, and probably should have been a few more against the Green Bay Packers. Not playing well in their recent stretch. I'm sure I've mentioned this before, as I've mentioned time possession before. They have the least amount of time with the football and offense this season. But you look at the teams that they've beaten. They scored 34 against the Jets. It's the New York Jets. They lost to the Seattle Seahawks, but then they beat the New England Patriots. And so Tim mentioned, what's the team that's going to come out here that's not projected to win and beat a team that is highly projected to win right now with the spread being 76-24 in favor of the Indianapolis Colts. It would be Aaron Rodgers against Daniel Jones for whatever reason coming out with the win. And I'm not picking them. I'm picking the Indianapolis Colts.
Says a lot of talking, boy.
But I'm going with the Colts. I mean, they're number 1 rush team in the NFL. Daniel Jones playing at a high level. Their defense is getting a ton of pressure. They're second in interceptions right now. They're top 5 in sacks somehow. There's a lot in favor. They're number 1 scoring offense in the league. I think, take away Daniel Jones' face from this team, and we're very clearly picking the Colts.
All right. All right, here's one that I think is a no-brainer, even though the line has us super close right now. Denver's visiting Houston. I think Denver destroys Houston personally, but what do you guys take? Josh, let's go back. Oh, go ahead, Kale.
Oh, sorry. I think it's going to be real close. I say that about a lot of these games because it's the NFL. You can get away with saying that. No, I'm just kidding. But both these teams they're balanced. Both of them. I think that Stroud's kind of figured it out. With these Iowa State receivers, we saw them all click last week. All of them were looking good. Jalen Knoll, Jaden Higgins are both rookies. Looked great. Knowles, their starting slot receiver now, and he's getting a ton of volume. You might want to pick him up in fantasy if he's available. Nico's back from his concussion. Their running back room is now a 2-headed tandem, which we couldn't figure out beginning of part of the year. Who's going to be the starter? And now they look balanced. They're splitting pretty evenly. They dominated time possession against the 49ers, like Josh mentioned. I think we're going to see that again this week, or at least they're going to try to. I think their defense is one of the best defenses that Denver's played so far. I know they've played some good teams, but the Houston's defense is scary. They're with Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter as both top tier edge rushers. I think that'll be a handful for Bo Nix, whose offense similar to the Packers, they don't have someone that's that good. I mean, Sutton's really good, but they have so many weapons to choose from that they can kind of do whatever they want. And Sean Payton's such a smart offensive play caller.
Well coached.
I think it's a great game, but I think the Texans have a real good shot at winning this one.
Are you picking the Texans?
I think so. Yeah, I'll pick them.
Because we can talk you on and off the wall. Are you sure you're on that wall?
Pat Surtain has an injury. I think he's going to miss a few weeks. Is that right, Josh?
Yeah, he's going to be out for a little bit.
Yeah, so I think if with Nico and the emergence of all these receivers, Dalton Schultz playing good like he has been the past few weeks, and that run game being established, I just think that they're the healthier team. It's close, man, but I'm going to go Texans.
All right, Josh.
So for this matchup, I'm just going to compare the two quarterbacks that are playing in this game. We know CJ Stroud's played for 3. We know Bo Nix played for now 2, right? Am I incorrect there?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay,
right,
okay. Yeah. So Bo Nix, his total amount of touchdowns through 2 seasons is 52. That's 12 more than Jaden Daniels. That's more than Drake May and Caleb Williams, of course. So through 2 seasons, he has the most total touchdowns. Guess how many less touchdowns he has than CJ Stroud and 1 less, or 1.5 less seasons essentially.
How many?
Stroud has 47.
No, Stroud has more.
Okay,
I'm saying I believe the difference is only 3 or 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
With a whole extra year.
So, yeah. So, Bo Nix obviously leading an explosive offense. They score more often than the Texans. They score more often than the Texans this year. Last year, they're both top 5 defenses, but the Denver Broncos have double the amount of sacks, in total. Obviously, they're number 1 in the NFL, but they're a better run team. Their quarterback's been better. They score more often. Their defense is better, getting to the quarterback more. The offensive line for the Texans is one of the worst in the league through this season, other than the last few weeks, right? There's no reason not to pick the Broncos, in my opinion.
All right, Tim.
That's fair.
Yeah, this is one of those rare games where both teams are coming off what you could probably argue is their most complete game. Denver against Dallas and Houston against San Fran. I think both teams offensively and defensively really put it together last week. And so they both have this momentum going into the game. Usually it's like one team's got the momentum going one way, one the opposite way, but they both have the momentum going in. But I'm going to side with Josh on this one for the sake of just talent wise. I do think, Caleb brings up a great point. They Texans have a very nasty defense, and I am concerned about Surtain, left arm, shoulder, right? Something like that, injury, his availability for Denver. But I do think just offensively, I think Denver's offense is going to be too tough to slow down for as good as the Houston defense is. So I'll go Denver.
So we're all going Denver. Nope. Caleb's going Houston, right? No, we're all going Denver.
No, I'm going to Houston.
Okay, that's confusing me, man, because you can be wishy-washy. We can talk you off the wall. Let's put it that way. You're not wishy-washy.
Well, it's the NFL. I can be convinced, I guess.
Right, yeah, we can all be convinced.
I love it. All right, the Sunday late game starts with Jacksonville favored 3.5 over the Raiders in Vegas. I'm going Jacksonville on this. I think they're the better team, although I said the Raiders can play spoiler. I have lost complete faith in their quarterback, and they don't have another one. So, hey, the Raiders might be done before they even got started. Josh, let's go with you, Jacksonville versus the Raiders.
Okay, well, I want to bring you confident numbers. Let's see. Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm pulling up their previous game. 35 points from the LA Rams against the Jacksonville Jaguars. That is a direct result from losing Tyson Campbell, and obviously a big part of the secondary there. I think we get a Geno Smith legacy game. I think we get something going. They just traded for Tyler Lockett. They're reminiscent of the good old days, 2-3 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say, you mean last year.
I'm not saying Tyler Lockett's even going to catch a ball. For some reason, I think Geno Smith has summoned up something in his soul to allow for him to throw 30 points against this Jacksonville Jaguars team. So I'm going to pick them. They can't lose every game, right? So
that's true. Caleb?
Brock Bowers is back.
Yes.
They're coming out the bye week.
Oh, boy. Timmy,
they made adjustments. Ashton Genty, they're going to get him involved. He had 20 yards the week before the bye, I think. He did nothing. They're not going to do that again. They're going to give him 25 carries. I've been saying this all year, but
Colts did it for
maybe they
3
actually
years.
do it.
What do you mean they're not getting the running back involved? It can happen.
Hear me out. Jacksonville's a good team.
No,
Right?
they're not. Not really. But they're better than the Raiders. All right, I'm hearing you. Go ahead.
Brock Bowers and Genty, it's pretty terrifying. And like Josh said, Tyson Campbell's a Brown now. He's not on Jacksonville. Jacoby Myers might be playing. They're going to showcase him. They want to trade him.
There's a lot of wouldas. Go ahead. Come on.
Hey, when a player wants to get traded, they're going to play. Look at David Njoku playing on a broken limb or whatever he's doing. He had a touchdown in 50 yards, whatever he did. He wants to get moved. They asked him last week if he wants to get traded. He said, "Oh yeah, I want to be out of here."
Don't they all?
But they're healthy now. I think they had a week to think about it. They had a week to prepare. I think that they're that team we talked about that could catch teams off guard, and I think that Jacksonville is that team. So I'm going Raiders.
So I got 2 Raiders. Tim, be sensible here. Who you got?
Oh man,
Yeah, I'm going Jacksonville. Sorry,
you,
sorry, boys. I mean, I just look at it from the factor of what do they have to play for. I know, no team is ever going to just kind of mail it in, and for some of the same reasons you guys just gave. That's probably why the Raiders won't mail it in. But let's be honest, the Raiders are not going to be making the playoffs this year. Look at the rest of that division; way too tough. Jacksonville's got a shot. I do think Jacksonville's got a shot in that division. They're in second place behind the Colts. Right? Are they second? I believe they're in second
3
place.
games
Yeah.
out.
So they've got something to play for. We're right around halfway through the season right now, right? After this week, we'll be halfway. Yeah. And so I think they see themselves as more contenders. They're going to come with some fire. I can't trust the Raiders. I can't. Sorry.
No.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Y'all remember?
Yeah.
Y'all remember who the Raiders played week 1?
No. Chiefs?
Starts with a new, ends with an England.
Oh yeah.
They won that game.
Patriots? Yeah.
But look at the losses that they've had. I know they've played poor as a team.
Yeah.
They beat the Patriots. They lost to the Chargers. They lost to the Commanders, healthy with Jaden Daniels at that point in time. They lost a 1-point game against the Chicago Bears. They lost to the Indianapolis Colts. They lost to the Kansas City Chiefs. Their second win is against the Titans. So, okay, a game against the Titans. You beat now a playoff team against the Patriots. Every other team they played against, other than arguably the Bears, let's just say that they're out of the playoffs, were projected to be 1 or 2 in their division going into the year.
Good argument. Yeah, it's a good argument. Yeah.
That's a reach, man.
Good point. That's a good. Yeah.
I'm saying if
yeah.
No,
it's not like they're losing to nobody.
Right.
They're playing against a lesser team of the degree of the teams they've played so far.
There you go. That is a good point.
Coming off the bye.
All right, let's talk about one that should be easy. The Rams are 13.5-point favorites to beat the Saints. Anybody taking the Saints? If so, turn off your mic. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't think the rookie's going to have a chance. That's an easy one. 13.5's a lot. All right, here's one that's interesting, folks. This is one that should make some conversation. The Kansas City Chiefs are playing the Buffalo Bills. Don't ask Tim. I'd have every team shirt pretty much if I could, just like coffee mugs, So that way I can wear them when I'm rooting for somebody. I have multiple team jerseys. Before people ask, I like the NFL, so there's only a few. There's only three jerseys, 4 jerseys I wouldn't wear. But anyway, Kansas City Chiefs. Y'all can try to guess it later. Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Chiefs are visiting 1.5-point favorites, visiting Buffalo. Tim, let's go with you. What do you think? The Chiefs too hot, or are the Bills rolling?
Man, I love this game. This is I'm not the only one that loves this game. This is the game of the week, I think, because these guys are right where we want to see them. The Chiefs have figured out the kinks, worked out the kinks, as I think Josh said before. Okay, I can't remember what the boys said before. Yeah, I said before. Yeah, exactly, about Rashee Rice being and just kind of being just putting it all together. Bills, again, James Cook. We didn't even talk about James Cook. Maybe we touched on him briefly, but 216 yards. I mean, phenomenal. I think the difference right now. Well, historically the Bills have won during the regular season, Chiefs during the playoffs, right? Right. The difference right now that I don't trust the Bills as much is with their receiving core. I love Josh Allen. And I like James Cook. I think he's obviously had a good season. I don't know that I trust the Bills defense, and I don't know that I trust their receiving core. And I think the Chiefs' momentum right now is just too much to stop. So Kansas City.
Now, Josh, if that's the same rule that Tim's saying, then does that mean that if Kansas City wins this week, I don't know if you're picking, you'll tell me, does that mean Buffalo wins in the playoff? Are they switching?
Well, I mean, it's a question if either one of these teams make playoffs, right? And obviously, I'm not saying that they're not, but I'm saying neither one are leading their division right now.
That's right.
But we of course think they'll both make it. Right now, the Kansas City Chiefs, they have a change in the power here. Their leading rusher on average for the season is now their running back. It's crazy. Isaiah Pacheco's doing it, 41 yards a game. Now he's injured, so their number one back's out. So that's a problem, of course. But James Cook averaging 107 on the ground with his biggest game coming last week. That's great for them. Khalil Shakir, I believe, is one of the leading yak receivers in the NFL with his long receiving touchdown last week as well. But, I mean, across the board, if you look at these teams, the points scored, almost 30 a game for the Bills. That's surprisingly only fourth. 27 per game is seventh, Kansas City Chiefs. But the Chiefs have jumped into second as far as points allowed. They allow under 17 points a game. Yards per game, all about the same other than rushing. With Mahomes averaging out higher than Josh Allen. So I think this is a very even game. I think the Bills have looked like lesser of a team. As Caleb and Tim mentioned, with Rashee Rice coming back the last 2 weeks, they've certainly stepped up their offense. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is that their offense has looked like the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, not so much. I know they got an easier game against the hurt quarterback situation for the Panthers last week. That was really a James Cook game more so than the entire offense. So I think I point towards the Chiefs and their recent success to be why they would win this game.
Caleb?
I got my point. I think that the Bills' defense is way too banged up. Ed Oliver just went IR. He's probably out for the year with a bicep injury. Dorian Strong, the rookie corner's out, I believe. Correct, Josh? You're my fact checker.
Yeah, he's been missing out. Yeah,
he's been missing out. And then obviously Matt Milano's been out. So you have three starting defenders that are out. And that's not good when you're playing the Chiefs. I know Pacheco's out, but he hasn't really been a factor for them anyway and how they're winning games. But this is going to be a vintage game that we've seen these two quarterbacks duke it out. Unfortunately, it's not a primetime game. It's just 4:25. It is in Buffalo.
Just a 4 o'clock game.
Just kind of the edge to Buffalo there. But like Josh was saying, Spags is the real reason why the differential for this team has been so much better. The defensive coordinator for the Chiefs has really put it on, and they're playing great football on both sides of the ball now the past 3 weeks, really. So I think they're hot. I know that the Bills came off a good game against a lowly team, but we saw them lose to the Falcons in prime time. So they're not consistent enough for me to pick them here. I think the Chiefs are the better team.
Yeah, I'm going Chiefs all day. I love Buffalo. For everything y'all said, I agree 1,000%. All right, here's one that I think will be easy for us, hard for our listeners. Seattle's coming to Washington, favored by 3.5. Seattle. Do we know if Daniel's coming back or not?
Not 100% certain, but they said he looks good, whatever that means this early in the week, but it looks good, so he's not ruled out.
We'll know later. Go ahead, Caleb.
Sorry. I'm going to talk about Jackson Smith-Njigba. He is the leading receiver in yards. He has 100 yards higher than the second receiver on the list, and he did not play last week. He's been playing crazy football. He's been playing great, averaging well over 100 yards a game right now, and he's scoring. He scored the last 3 weeks straight. He's playing a team that just let up a lot of points that we just saw. I think he does it again. You can go back and bet on that again. I think it's not going to stop this game. And they're just a way better team. That the Kubiak has a two-headed monster at running back that they haven't even tapped into yet with Charbonnet and Walker. Both guys that are consistent enough to be the lead back on any other team, I think, in the league. They're very balanced. A.J. Bardner's been a great tight end for them. Their offense is just much better than what the defense for the Washington Commanders can do anything against, I think. So I think it's obvious for us. For me.
Tim?
I'm not going to speak for you.
Yeah, I mean, to go along with the running back situation, Bill, on the other hand, our favorite nickname, he had 25 yards on 9 carries against Kansas City the other night, or actually just last night on Monday Night Football. And so I agree with Caleb completely. The Seattle Seahawks are the better team. They're sneaky good. They don't really get the national attention that the big teams, the Lions, the Eagles, some of those top tier teams. I don't know that I would want to play the Seattle Seahawks in the playoffs. I mean, they've got, as Caleb said, JSN
Explosive.
putting together just a phenomenal season. And that's going to be a heck of a battle out there in the West all year long, the NFC West, to see who comes out on top.
Yeah. Josh, what are you thinking?
Yeah. Right now, the Seattle Seahawks, I know they've played one less game, but their average for the season is 5th with 27.6 points per game scored. They're top 10 in passing yards per game. Surprisingly, as Caleb mentioned, they have 2 great running backs, Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. But right now, they're 21st on average in rushing yards per game, while the Commanders are 3rd on average as a group. So that includes the quarterback, that includes Deebo Samuel, all the running game, which is surprising. But that obviously points to why their passing total is down. They're 25th in passing yards per game. But right now, surprisingly, if you saw Jacob Martin, I believe it was, he gets a ton of pressure for some reason. He's been playing very well for the Commanders. Right now, they're 8th in sack total with 22. Seattle Seahawks right there with 23. And then you factor in just how Seattle has played. You look at the games that they have. They have 31 points against the Steelers, 44 against the Saints, 35 against the Buccaneers, 27 against the Houston Texans before the bye week. They've been able to score big points. They have number 1 receiver in the NFL right now, despite the running game and it's being split so hard. 60 yards a game is still greater than what the individual Bill Krosky-Merritt's putting up right now. So I think, comparatively with Mariota likely to be the starter again, we saw the pressure rate on him. I think it's going to be able to be replicated defensively, at least for the Seahawks.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Seattle has got a good young coach. They've managed to keep some key players and move some players that they didn't feel like were necessary, essential. And with Sam Darnold at the helm, they've been very productive. And, they're winning their division. I know they're tied with the Rams, but right now they hold the tiebreaker. They're also in that elite group of teams. I know we have a few teams like the Colts and the Cowboys that have just a lot of points, the Broncos. But these guys have 193 points. That's exactly as many points as Green Bay's put up, and they're considered a high-powered offense. So let's not sleep on the Seattle Seahawks. And that division, as
They
one of you
both
said,
had buys.
Yeah. That division is going to be crazy as it comes home. Okay, when I was a child, this matchup would have meant something because they were in the same division. Right now, you have 2 teams fighting for their lives in the Arizona Cardinals and Dallas Cowboys, who are no longer in their division. In fact, the Cardinals are just 2-5, getting hopefully their starting quarterback this week, and Dallas 3-4-1 is fighting for their lives with a team defense that is amongst the absolute very bottom, giving up points. So, Arizona, Dallas is currently favored at home by 3.5. What we got?
I'll go Dallas. I'll say Dallas. I think I love Dallas's offense. I really do. I know they sputtered a little bit last week. I mean, 24 points. I don't know if it's sputtered, but like compared to what we've seen. But those top 2 receivers there. I mean, Lamb and Pickens. My gosh. I mean, I think it's going to be very hard for Arizona to stop them, and I don't think that Arizona has the offense to match. I know Dallas's D is not great. That's no surprise. But I don't think they're going to, I don't think they're going to be able to match the offense that Dallas puts up. So I think pretty easily, I think Dallas wins this one and winds up putting up somewhere around 40 points, and maybe Arizona winds up only 21, 22 points.
The crazy thing with Dallas is, like you mentioned, like we have 2 of the best receivers getting it done. Ferguson's fantastic. Our running back's been among the league's best this year. It's just an absolute shame. Hopefully we lick our wounds this year, go aggressively after defense, sign Pickens, and then we run it back because there's not a good shot this year,
Yeah, so I mean, I know we talked about this a little bit last week with their choice of defense. They use zone 71% of the time. Zone defense 71% of the time this past week. Last week, when they won, and they did great 41% of the time. They were much more on man-to-man 2 weeks ago. Caleb, speak to that, because that just boggles my mind. Like, it's crazy.
We watched it last week. I talked to Josh about this today. Dallas terrible at zone defense. As we saw, RJ Harvey scored 3 touchdowns. The running back just running straight wide open through his zone. Evan Ingram, I know he only had like 30 yards, but all of his catches were first downs in the middle of the zone, middle of the field. Not good. I'm kind of scared for this game. I think it's a trap game. Trey McBride, one of the best tight ends in the league, at getting these chunk yards, could eat that up if we decide to do that again. The running back, DeMarcado, can break the field. I know Bam Knight's starting. Their backfield's kind of a sad story. But DeMarcado is a home run hitter. I'm worried about that. And then Marvin Harrison. I mean, we don't have Trayvon Diggs. I think Deron Bland's going to have to be on him. But Marvin is a mismatch. He's a giant receiver. He's not a bum. They just can't scheme him right for some reason. But I think he's going to have a day this day. I'm scared. I think it's a trap game. I really do. But I'm going to pick Dallas by default. Because they are the better team on paper, but I think that it is. I think it's a trap game, unfortunately.
Josh, bring us home.
Yeah, I think justifiably you pick the Dallas Cowboys because of the offense, assuming that the Cardinals cannot match that. You look at the Cardinals; they've lost 5 in a row, but the totals have been a combined 13 points on all those losses.
Wow.
So they lost against the 49ers, if y'all remember that terrible late slate game. 16-15, obviously 1 point loss. 23-20, 3 points. 22-21, 31-27, and then 27-23. 13 combined points and 5 losses. So they become the first team in NFL history to lose 3 straight games after leading by a touchdown or more entering the fourth quarter. So, yeah, they've let those games slip, but every single one of these games have been very close. It's been against the Indianapolis Colts, the Green Bay Packers, the Tennessee Titans of all people, the Seattle Seahawks, and the San Francisco 49ers. So at least 4 great teams, or 4 considerably great teams. But I just think, obviously that's not to their credit, but the Dallas Cowboys, I'll say, will have a good offensive rebound against this team. They have good, young, talented corners in that secondary for the Cardinals, but you mentioned the veterans that are playing there, almost all atop of their position this season, including the running game. So I don't think the Cardinals can answer to that.
No, and I think this dumpster fire started last year hiring Mike Zimmer, and then any inkling of a decent defense that we had left from the Quinn days were being destroyed. And there's not a lot of hope. The only hope is that I hadn't even heard about Clowney. Is he even still on the team, or is he?
He's playing.
Yeah,
he's making an impact.
Yeah, don't see his name in the paper a whole lot. You know what I mean? But at any rate, unless we just make a huge splash in free agency, it seems like teams are trickling defensive players into their systems, not into ours. So I'm never quite sure, excuse me, what the game plan is there. But we'll see. I'm going Dallas as well, not because I want to, and I agree it's going to be a difficult one. But well, that's it, folks. That is our Week 9 preview. Tim, you mentioned the game of the week's got to be Kansas City and Buffalo, but there's some bangers in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I think we'll be wrong. We'll all be wrong on at least one or two of them. I don't know which ones. It's not because we were incorrect. We picked the better teams in most of these, but some teams, that's why they call them trap games. Some will fall into the trap, and will tell us a little bit more about those teams.
Well, Vegas wants you to believe, and they're probably right, that Buffalo, Kansas City is going to be good because of the stat line. Of course, they don't like to lose money. Denver and Houston, of course, should be good. They want you to believe that San Francisco and the Giants is going to actually be good, or Chicago and Cincinnati. But, I don't ever want to discount any of these teams. As you said, Caleb, any given Sunday, anybody can win. Josh, as you know, division rivals, they turn up for each other. So, any closing points? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm like 2 seconds ahead of you, I think. My bad.
No, you're good.
I had a lot of coffee. I had this whole cup. I have some free agents. Yeah. Well, the audience could track how much I've drank. So some waiver wire pickups, because I know the bye weeks are hitting hard and it's getting close to the trade deadline, and you want to make the right decisions here. A few guys that I would just like to throw out there, and you guys can add some if you have some. But my first one, hopefully he's not on your wire, but he probably is. Tajay Spears, running back for Tennessee. We saw the gap close this week with the carries with Pollard. Pollard had 11 touches. Spears had 9. He had 59 yards and a touchdown and 23 receiving yards. So he outproduced him on all accounts for the running back position. Next, Brashard Smith. We just saw Pacheco go down. He might be out for a few weeks. Brashard Smith is a rookie. He's more explosive. Kareem Hunt is still dealing with an ankle injury that he or a knee injury, I forget. They sustained 2 weeks ago. He's playing through it, but he's hurt. So Brashard Smith, just keep a lookout for him. Jalen Noel, I mentioned him earlier. Last week, 5 of 6 for 63 as their slot receiver. The week before, 4 of 7 for 77. So monster numbers for a rookie, especially for PPR. I mean, if you're getting 7 targets PPR, that's gold, especially off the wire. And then lastly, Samaje Perine, 9 for 100 yards, flat and a touchdown in that Cincinnati run game. I don't know how to round that out, but Chase Brown is not good. He's looked good the last 2 weeks, but 9 for 100. It's great, especially if you need a prayer running back, because I know these bye weeks are hurting. So that's it. Four guys for you to think about.
No, that's great. And as I say every week too, go ahead, Josh. You want to comment directly on that?
No, mention the teams that aren't playing, and then I want to mention just something else.
Super important. If you have a Brown, if you have a Jet, if you have an Eagle, fly Eagles fly, or if you have a Buccaneer, sit them because they ain't playing. Dude, I played a guy this week who didn't have Amon-Ra in, and someone else, or I think I did, or somebody did. Too many teams, I lose track. It's just sad when you. I don't like beating somebody. Maybe it was. Look.
They don't even.
Josh, make your point, but I don't like playing people that don't start people because it feels like a dirty win. You know?
Yeah.
What was your point? I'm sorry.
We mentioned.
And I lost.
The historic.
I actually
the historic
lost.
level.
What the heck, bro? Go ahead.
All right. We mentioned the historic level of season that Jonathan Taylor has so far this season. But if you look at him comparatively to the other Indianapolis Colts through history, just purely rushing numbers. The number one rushing leader for touchdowns for the Indianapolis Colts, I believe yards as well. But the topic here is going to be rushing touchdowns, is Edgerrin James. He has 64 rushing touchdowns. In second place, you have Jonathan Taylor with 63. So obviously, Edgerrin James, a Hall of Famer. This is only comparing Edgerrin James on the Colts, however, to Jonathan Taylor's Colts career. So one touchdown difference, that's 817 rushes difference as well.
Wow.
And in 20 less games. So comparatively to a Hall of Famer playing with Peyton Manning, of course, and 20 less games effectively, that's including this upcoming game. So 21 as we talk today. But 817 rushes difference to be the number one rushing touchdown holder for the Indianapolis Colts. That could come this week. Of course, we assume he's going to get one more touchdown this year and become the holder of that title. But yeah, we're talking about 20 less games, including, so 21, and then 817 touches difference. So clearly a wide margin there to be, a franchise holder just at the age of 26. So it's crazy.
That's wild.
He's doing it this year and hopefully, this upcoming week.
Yeah, hopefully. Hey, let me be the clown of the week, y'all. I lost in this matchup. And my dude didn't have a running back. Kyner Williams was on his bench. Amon-Ra was on his bench. And even though my kicker put up 14, he didn't have a kicker. And I lost.
Wow.
And I don't know who this is. Let's give him a shout out. Who is Mahomes Depot?
That's Robbie.
So I have to give Robbie Castine. I was gonna call him a clown for not benching these people, but I'm the clown because I got beat by the guy who didn't even bench his people.
He's first in the league too. That's a shame.
Well, he beat me with 90
won because of his
points.
namesake, at least.
Is he first in the league still?
So Mahomes Depot is Robbie.
Yes.
Well, congrats, Robbie. I'm the clown of the week because you clowned me with your bench.
He's fourth.
Me. Well, that's painful. Can I just say that? And Josh, I'm not appreciative of you trashing me the way you did either this week. But
I mean, it wasn't me; it was Jonathan Taylor. But you can contact him for that issue.
You encouraged him.
Yeah.
Well, I did raise you guys right, so that's at least encouraging. Hey, make sure and give us a like and follow. You can find us anywhere on @GuysWithoutHelmets. We post this weekly, anywhere podcasts are available, and again on YouTube. Tell your friends. We would really love for you guys to check us out. We appreciate all of you that already do. Robbie, as I said, congratulations on trashing me with a bench. That's the first time for everything, but either way, hey guys, it's been a great week. We'll see you guys, of course, next week right here on Guys Without Helmets.